Now it all comes down to numbers. So let's talk about what my audience likes the most, which is how much, what's the return, what's the turn, and track record and all that jazz.
Yes. So historically, we've seen cask double in value between sort of 5 to 7 years. We have seen greater gains than that. From our Trustpilot reviews, you'll see that. I don't like to take any risks. I'm very conservative when I say that you should expect the general rule of thumb is to double your asset between that time frame. Depending on what you purchase, you might see greater gains. But the term is a minimum of 5 years. You can be in the market for up to 30 years or more, should you wish. But the returns is the general rule of thumb is you should expect to double your asset between that time frame of 5 to 7 years.
So if I just do the math very quickly, that means the return annually is about like double digit to like somewhere between 10 to 20%. Is that sound about right?
Yes, generally, depending on the age of the cask, you might see it a lot sooner. You might have, it's not a straight trajectory growth. You might have some stagnated years, particularly recently with some tariffs, etc. But generally, within that time frame, you should see you double your cask in value within that 5 to 7 years.
So that's interesting. What you're saying is that you can buy older age like spirits which are already aged, and then you can age it further, which means you can buy other people's time.
Absolutely. Yeah, you do buy time. I have a lot of clients, and should we say mature clients, that have a lot of money, but they don't have a lot of time. If you have time in this market, it's very, very valuable. And the fact that, inflation's our friend for a change. £100 bottle now is not going to be £100 in 10 years' time. So the value will increase based on inflation as well. But yeah, the longer that you have in this market, the more value your cask will become for sure.
Right. And what's the minimum amount that you recommend people, like if someone absolutely want to try this after they do their own independent research, they find it valuable, like if they want to try it, what's the minimum, like how much can they get, like how much do they need in order to get into this?
So it's a good question.
Essentially, how much does each cask cost? Right, that's a good point. Yeah.
We're stockists. We're slightly different from other companies. So we own all of our stock. We have casks depending on what we have available at that time, but they can range. Are we talking dollars? So it could be $5,000 all the way up to $2 million. It just depends on what we have at that time. But it's a very broad range, and it just depends on what's comfortable for the client.
Right. But okay, so sounds like kind of getting for a couple $1,000, or should they choose, they can get like, what's that brand? Macallan for like millions, right?
Yes. Macallan is they're very difficult to get. You won't see young casks of Macallan anymore. They stopped selling them back in the 90s, but we do have older Macallans. We actually bottled one ourselves, a Macallan marriage. So we was one of the only ones other than the Royals to have that, which we're very proud of. But yeah, casks, you're expecting north of £200,000 for a cask of Macallan from maybe a 20-year-old plus.
I see. But like other casks which are, still good ones, probably like a few thousand to like 10, 20, something like that. So okay.
Yes, absolutely. I think, my personal opinion, I think Macallan could be overpriced. I think age has driven the market, particularly Macallan, quite high considerably. But what I tend to look for is we only work with desirable distilleries that are steeped in histories. They're over 200 years old. So I tend to look for casks that don't command six figures, but have really good potential on the back end, as a Macallan 2.0, for example. But we always explain our reasons why we've chosen particular options and break it down for you. But yeah, we look at demand, we look at where they're factored and where they're based, their distribution globally. And India is a big market right now as well.
Oh yeah, I was surprised by some of that facts that you told me. So please share. You really surprised me. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. India are the largest consumer of whiskey in the world. Surprisingly, they consume one of every two bottles produced globally, which is incredible. Now, for Scotch, this has been going on for some time. They have a 150% tariff on Scotch whisky. However, they still distribute 192 million bottles of Scotch with a 150% tariff. So our founder here, Sam Brooks, and a few of the team and the partners were lucky to be invited into Parliament here in the UK back in 2023 twice to discuss the India trade deal with the UK. And recently, which is very welcoming news, the trade deal was agreed and they've halved the tariffs to 75% over the next 12 months. So what that means, sorry.
Yeah, so what that means is, so how many bottles are they consuming now?
192 million of
Okay,
Scotch.
okay, so they probably doubled
That's a Scotch. Yeah.
that.
So
Wow.
if they could get anything half the price, which we're seeing, yeah, the forecast is 4, 5, 600 million bottles over the next 10 years, and yeah, I think demand and the market will grow exponentially just on the back of India, and the factor to consider would be, can we produce enough for the demand, particularly in India coming into play now. So it's exciting times and it's a great opportunity to be looking right now, because I think over time demand is going to increase and the rarity of casks of single malt might become a lot more difficult to obtain over time.
Interesting. Is this like with India, is this the new trend or has it been like this for a very long time?
It's I would say over the last sort of 15 years, a lot of the younger generation in India are consuming a lot more. What you find now in India, the sweet spot is blended whiskey, but a lot of the younger single malts that you'll see here are used in blends. So if I can give you an example, Dewar's, they're one of the most awarded blended whiskies in the world, but there's 41 single malts go into that particular blend. So a lot of younger casks, 3 to 8 year olds, are used in this blended whiskey. So the demand's always there, but it's the rarity of the single cask over the age of 10, heading towards signature years of 12, 15, 18. That's when the growth curve steepens and there's less in the market, only 10% at that time. So that's when it creates that value.
Wow, really interesting. I also heard like the whole Asia region is on fire with whiskey and with spirit in general. Is that true?
Where sorry?
Asia, just Asia, across Asia.
Yes. They again really enjoy their whiskey and their single malts globally, really. But I think their sweet spot is sherry. They like sweeter whiskies. They love Macallan. They like their darker colours within their whiskey. So that's again another huge market at this moment in time, because of low tariffs. The US export large amounts of Scotch, but that's going to change a lot, particularly with India coming into play.
Interesting. Okay. So let me sum it up. So you're saying you're recommending at least 5 years, because that's going to give the minimum push into the price jump, and returns typically, if you hold 5 years, hopefully you can double your money. Seems like that's the industry norm. So, okay. And also given the demand and the reduction tariff with India, I guess it's gonna get more rare. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So hopefully that means the returns will be higher.